ballers, threats to score every time down the court. The best of the best over the last 2 decades. Welcome back to 11 in the Last 20. I'm your host, Chad Landers. Thanks for tuning in to our latest countdown here on Blue Ridge 11. Today, we lace them up and head out onto the hardwood to see who's the best boys basketball player from our coverage area over the past 20 years. So let's hit the spotlight and see who made our list.
Close game. They need a shot here. Win the game.
I think a really great basketball player is someone that can score, can defend, is a good passer, can handle the basketball, is a great teammate.
Coachable, and by that I mean be able to take criticism because you are probably the best player.
When they're really good teammates and they're really good players and they have that combination, their legacy lasts forever.
As a coach, you look down and see who do you want in at the end of the game. That to me is how you tell who a good high school basketball player is. If you know for sure you want them in at the end of the game because you can trust them, that's a good high school basketball player.
Number 11, Calico's Nate Windham, 4-year starter, 3-time section All-Star for the Eagles.
Nate Windham was a tremendous scorer back in the early to mid-2000s. He could get to the hole.
Windham drives, steps inside, hits a short running jumper.
But I remember just the range he had.
Windham for three. His second three ball of the night.
A great shooter.
You get him beyond the three-point line, that was his comfort zone.
Wyndham working one-on-one on Cornell. Gets a pick from Carvel. Sets and fires up a three. Got it! Nate Wyndham at the buzzer.
And when he would get into a groove, he would stroke threes left and right.
Nate was about 5'6", 5'7" maybe. He would take it into the lane on anybody. Didn't matter how big they were. He was going in there. He was just relentless. He would always attack. He was a really good three-point shooter.
Wyndham fires a three. Got it!
Nate Wyndham from outside, Eric, and he can shoot from outside 33. Three-pointers made in Section 3.
He could handle the basketball. He was a really good on-ball defender. I mean, he was just a complete basketball player.
He was tough. Not a big kid, but he was one that never backed down.
What made him so good was just his toughness.
Wyndham off balance shot.
He didn't back down from anyone, and he was always so competitive. He wanted to win everything.
He wasn't afraid to get inside and mix it up with people, and he wasn't that big, so that's one of his traits that I'll remember.
For him to go into the lane against guys even that are like 6'5" or 6'6", that was a huge, that was almost a foot taller than him. But he went in there every time. He would attack, he would try to create space, lean in, create contact, and he was really good finishing inside for his size. I mean, it was remarkable. I mean, he scored over 1,000 points. He was on back-to-back section championship teams, and he was a huge part of that.
Number 10, Manheim Central's Tom Kenneth, boys' second all-time leading scorer for the Barons.
Kid could flat out shoot.
I remember Tom was a shooter.
Kenneth unloads for three, and he got it. There it is. That's what you're used to seeing from him.
Could score a lot of points. That always presented a problem when you were trying to play against him.
Kenneth, spin move, off balance, got the basket, and he drew the foul.
I remember he put up quite a few points on many occasions.
He was just a big guard, big, strong, scored so many different ways, which really is what made him the player he was.
Stops and fires and hits. Well, he's dangerous any way you look at it, either taking it the distance or stopping and firing from the floor.
He scored a boatload of points.
Oh, he got the basket on a foul.
And I think that he was just tough to defend because he could score in the post.
Oh, sweet move.
He could shoot the ball. He could score off the dribble.
Boy, he's just got a lot of ability.
He did so many good things, which ultimately made him a great player and really tough to defend.
He got the ball in his hand. He wanted to pull the trigger and let it fly. And when he got in a groove, he could rattle off points in a very short period of time.
Kenneth, a three.
Thus, the fact that he's over 1,000 points as far as his career is concerned. A guy I think Manheim Central depended on, and he stepped up and delivered when needed.
Number 9, Warwick's Dan Obley. 3-year starter, 1,200-point scorer for the Warriors.
Well, obviously from a basketball family.
I don't remember Dan Obley as being a real vocal guy, but boy, he set an example with just the way he played.
Schumann's outlet pass picked off by Obley. Basket and a foul.
He scored over 1,100 points and was just a consistent force for that team.
Shot is up and good. Long ranger.
When I was playing in Manheim Township, playing against him, and he was a tall, athletic. One of the great characteristics I remember of him is him being able to elevate and get shots off.
Obley in the corner for 3.
Nothing but net.
And having a really nice shot. He was a really special player and had some other guys around him and was part of some pretty good Warwick teams with Coach Walk at that time.
He was a natural scorer.
Obley looking to drive. Does drive and a nice baseline move. Oh my, and Dubs was there to defend but still got it up.
It was just smooth, and a lot of times if you weren't around him every day at practice, you might not have known that he was going all out, because it just, things came easy to him on the offensive end.
I coached Dan his freshman year. That was my last year as a head coach at Warwick. Funny story about Dan was we were ending a practice, and we would usually end with someone making a foul shot or 2 foul shots, and it just wasn't working. So we took Dan, who I think was our 5th or 6th grade manager, and had him shoot the foul shot, and he ended practice. And I knew then this kid could shoot.
Obley from outside sinks it, and that's a 3-pointer for Dan Obley.
Well, here we go.
This kid was going to be pretty special.
A guy that, when again called upon, delivered for Warwick.
He was just a pure offensive threat, and played out that way. It was fun watching him.
Oh, baseline move, Dan Obley, and a nice job of getting himself open.
Number 8, Conestoga Valley's Jeremy Scalota, 2009 league MVP.
Buckskins with Jeremy Scalota, of all the teams in the LL playoffs, the highest point per game average at 19 points. This guy's been lighting it up all season.
Talking earlier in the evening with some of the Cocalico coaches, they said we got to watch Scalota. The rest of the guys we can handle, but Scalota is the real deal.
Jeremy was very good, pretty much all-around game, could score. If you left him open, he was going to make you pay.
Scalota open and nothing but net.
You can't let Scalota that far open.
But he was strong enough to post up, had a nice turnaround jump shot. He could absorb contact, and when he went to the line, he shot at a very high percentage.
Strong drive inside from Jeremy Scalota.
He also part of a very memorable game. They played E-Town for the league championship game at Manheim Township. Epic ball game.
Scalota for 3, nothing but net.
And Jeremy was a focal point because he was a guy that CV would count on and look to. Smooth, very fluid. Again, a guy his size, had a nice touch and a big point producer.
Jeremy Scalota, that playoff run he had as a senior, he just carried Conestoga Valley. I mean, he just night in and night out, he did great things for Conestoga Valley. And in the finals, he stepped his game up even another notch, to lead Conestoga Valley in that upset over Elizabethtown.
Scalota, a long 3, and he got it. Banked it. Whoa.
The thing I remember most about him is he's a winner. They ended up winning the league championship his senior year, and he was one of the main reasons they were successful that night.
And the horn sounds, and the Buckskins have won it.
Wow. The Conestoga Valley Buckskins are the Lancaster 11 League champions for the 2nd time in their career.
The countdown is only getting started. Coming up next, we look back at the best boys basketball players from number 7 through number 4. It's all coming up next on 11 of the Last 20.